Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be doing another movie review, this time being an anime movie. Yes, I am an anime fan, if you can easily tell. Today we are going to be talking about my second favorite film of all time, Jujutsu Kaisen 0. I have seen this film 15 times. About 5 or 6 times on Crunchyroll, 5 and 6 times in the theater, and then the rest on Crunchyroll. Sorry, this is a film that I'm very excited to talk about because of how much I love it. Before we get started with the film review, I want to talk about the series real quick. I do love it. It's one of my favorite anime of all time. Itadori is a great character. Sukuna is fun as hell. Gojo is one of the funniest teachers I've ever seen in any anime. Fushiguro is great. Nobara is great. I love almost all these characters. They're all hilarious. Todo is hilarious. You know, what woman is your type deal. It's hilarious. But this film has one character, the main character actually, who is one of my favorite in like any fiction. I love this character so much, and that being Yuta Kotsu. But before we get started with characters, I want to talk about the story real quick, because this story, it's kind of like a lot of regular like style shonen types of anime. You know, chosen one gets brought into this place, trained up, and then fights the evil at the end. But I think this one is my favorite of it because it just works because of the characters so much. So Yuta Okotsu is imbued with a curse, being his childhood friend Riko Orimoto, who is this thing. He kills 3 kids and stuffs them in a... Well, not kill, actually. They said pretty badly wounded, Panda said in this movie. Yeah, there's a character called Panda. But after stuffing the 3 kids in the locker, Gojo approaches him and says, hey, there's a place where we can learn how to control that. So he takes them to Tokyo Jujutsu High, a school where sorcerers and students who have cursed energy and cursed abilities study those abilities to fight off evil curses and exorcise them. Yeah, it's pretty much a ninja-style exorcist show, and it's really fun. Yuta is then introduced to 3 of his fellow students, being Maki, Toge, and Panda. After they first meet him, they think he's cursed and they need to try to kill it, but Rika comes out and wrecks all 3 of them. And then we go into the backstory, in which Yuta and Rika were really close childhood friends. They met in a hospital and became close friends afterwards. And the next thing we know, Rika gives Yuta an engagement ring and saying that they can get married when they grow up. Yuta obviously agrees, but the next thing we know, again, before I continue on, I want to say that this is really dark. It gets dark really quickly. This show is pretty brutal. So, full warning aside, in case you get, triggered by some of this stuff, but Rika gets run over by a car. I'm not even kidding. Rika gets run over by a car as a child. Think about that. This guy took no balls in making this dark. And then after that, she becomes this. It's horrifying. It literally made me squirm in my theater seat when I first saw this. I was really uncomfortable. And then after that, Yuta and Maki are teamed up to go to a school to exorcise a curse where 2 children have been seemingly missing. They get swallowed by the exact same curse, and then Maki asks Yuta why he wants to be a Jujutsu sorcerer, and Yuta explains he wants to help people and make sure that everybody knows that it's okay to be alive. And then he unleashes Rika and goes complete ham on this curse. Like really gory stuff. Rips out its guts and everything. It's badass, but it is really, really, really gory. And then after that, Gojo explains that he can't really unleash Rika again, because if they do, Yuta's going to get executed because of his dangerous curse. So Gojo teaches Yuta how to use a katana. I know, a katana, badass weapons. And then after 3 months of training and having a bit of a better attitude adjustment, being more comfortable, he goes on a mission with Toge to go to a abandoned shopping district, which has a big old swarm of curses that Inumaki literally kills in one word. We'll describe why when we talk about the characters. But then after that curse is destroyed, a random curse just shows up out of nowhere. They were only expecting to deal with one, but a semi-grade 1 curse, which is a really strong level, just randomly shows up and almost kills both of them. But Yuta, using his new katana skills by imbuing it with his own cursed energy, making the katana a lot more stronger against curses. Take a drink every time I say curse. It's a lot. But after that, they destroy the curse because, good prevails and everything. But we're also introduced to the villain of the movie, being Suguru Geto, an ex-Jujutsu student who believes the world should be run by Jujutsu sorcerers and no humans should exist. Or as he calls them, again, kind of triggering, but he calls every human this word. He calls them monkeys. I know, I'm not saying I agree with his mannery. He's a villain for Pete's sake. Bumped Rika. But he calls every single human or anybody that's a not Jujutsu sorcerer a monkey. After Geto's introduction, we kind of see him as kind of nice, but after he helps 2 people relinquish a curse, he takes the curse he took out and swallows it, absorbing the curse. So now he owns it. He has that curse's ability. And then we're introduced to the rest of the villains. I cannot remember almost any of the names of them. There's Mimiko and Nanako and Miguel. Again, they're only on screen for like a few minutes, so it's not really that important. They're just sideline villains to show like everybody else is busy during the final battle. And then after their introduction, we cut back to Jujutsu High where the villains show up. They try to show up, and Geto approaches Yuta somewhat charming. He is like, "It's nice to meet you, Yuta Okotsu. I see that you're in possession of a really incredible power." And then after expressing his beliefs in what he needs to be done by, killing all the non-Jujutsu sorcerers and making a world only of Jujutsu, Yuta obviously disagrees, and then Gojo comes out asking him not to profess his beliefs. I know, it's like him stopping a religion. He comes out, and then like every other main Jujutsu sorcerer is there asking what's going on, and then Geto says, "I came to declare war." So he is unleashing an army of curses. I can't remember what the name of it is, but literally the last line of what he says is just one of the coolest lines I've ever heard. He's expressing like he's going to unleash curses on 2 of the main towns, like 2 of the biggest Jujutsu towns, and he literally ends the declaration of war by saying, "Let us freely curse each other to the death." I'm sorry, it's such a badass line. I really do love it. And then, the whole final battle ensues. Maki gets almost killed by Geto, like mangled in one leg. It's pretty brutal. And then he almost kills Panda and Toge. And then Yuta, seeing his friends were pretty much beaten to the pulp, unleashes Rika and just goes complete ham. Meanwhile, in Tokyo, Gojo's going full ham on this one guy. And it again, we'll talk about that later because it's so cool. In the end, though, the drill. They defeat Geto, and, Yuta ends up going overseas. And around that time, that's when the series begins, when we introduce to Yuji and stuff like that afterwards. Again, kind of, what you would expect. Chosen One is picked, enrolled, trained, and then defeats the evil. But, again, the characters just make that so well done. So I guess that's a perfect time to transition into the characters. We'll start with the main one himself, Yuta Okotsu, one of my favorite protagonists of all time. I love this character so much, to the point I actually got to meet the VA. I went dressed as Yuta and met the VA. I ended up crying in front of her because of how much I just loved the character so much. It was incredibly nice, super sweet. It was an amazing experience, but really put through like, yeah, I can't be around anybody because anybody I'm around is going to get killed at some point. If you hurt me, Rika's going to kill you. If you say something mean to me, Rika's going to kill you. Like, no matter what he does, if Rika comes out, it's going to end terribly. So he just tries to shut him off from humanity, but eventually opens up to everybody because he finds people that are like him, being the Jujutsu sorcerers. And after getting more comfortable with each of the battle, he goes full ham against Geto to protect everybody because they helped him out, and now it's his turn to help back. And I love that. I love that. And the relationship he has with Rika is so bittersweet. I love it. It's really a good tragic love story. Gojo really implies in the film there is no curse more twisted than love. And that is 100% true throughout the entire movie. It really holds on that fact. Literally the main purpose of this film is Yuta and Rika's love. And I guess we'll talk about Rika next. We didn't really get to know a lot about her. In the manga, it explains like her mother died at a young age. The father was probably the main suspect. She went to live with her grandma, and the grandma thinks that she's the one who killed both of her parents. She ends up taking the wedding ring, then her mother's wedding ring, and gives it to Yuta, which is the engagement ring he wears throughout the film. But I think the thing that I liked about Rika so much is her design. It looks like a mixture between a xenomorph from Alien and Venom. And I see a little bit of Ghost Freak from Ben 10 as well. But it's just this design is so incredible that when I looked at the poster, I thought that she was the villain. I thought that she was some sort of main bad guy in this. But she ended up being a good guy. She was a good character in the film, helping protect Yuta. I mean, all the curses in this film have like really odd and abstract designs. Like some look cute but are extremely deadly, and then some look extremely deadly but are really cool. And another part of this design that I like so much, she never aged. She got killed at a kid age, like around, I think like 8 years old is what it was. And she still has that 8-year-old voice. And it is creepy, and I loved it. It really just shows how twisted and dark this world is, and it is incredible. I guess next we'll talk about Maki. Maki is a member of the Zenin clan, and she is the only member who is not able to see curses, which people called her a failure, a disgrace to the clan. So she has these special glasses on and is able to use already previously imbued cursed tools, being her glaive, of course, and only when she's wearing the glasses can she see the curses. And the reason why she wanted to do this so badly is because she wants to prove to her family, you can be a high grade sorcerer even without seeing curses. And she wants to stick it up to her family, which I agree. You stick up family, they deserve to get shoved. So yeah, again, Maki's one of my favorite characters. And quick side note, this is how you do strong female characters right. You want to know how to do strong female independent characters? Look at anime. Perfectly describable. Bulma, Sailor Moon, all of them. They're all perfect. We'll talk about Gojo next. Do I even need to say how much fun this character is? Gojo is one of the coolest and just bizarrest anime characters of all time. He's so energetic. And he's like a high level. He's like Kakashi if he had an unlimited supply of the Makeout series. That is Gojo pretty much. But again, he's so full of energy, but he does really have his heart. He does do his best to help out Yuta in serious situations. Again, when we were learning more about Yuta and Rika's past and during a flashback in the hospital, Gojo really was just being serious with him and not hyper energetic like he was at the beginning of the movie. And that really does show that he does care. He really does care about his students and the people he's met, which is incredible. And him during the final battle, incredible. It's fast-paced. He's just going complete nuts on this one guy, obliterating curses with a single red blast. It's unbelievable. Again, something you really do need to watch if you get the chance, just to see how incredible it is. Toge, and again, the reason why I'm explaining each character so well is because just in case people didn't watch the anime. So it's kind of because one thing you can do about this movie is, since it's a prequel, you can watch the film first and then watch the anime, or you can watch the anime, know everything about each character, and then watch the movie. I was introduced through the movie, so let's talk about Toge next. Toge is a cursed speech user of the Inumaki clan. His clan symbol is snake eyes and fangs. He has the eyes across his dimples right here, and on his tongue is a circle with fangs in the middle. And anything he says can pretty much have a massive effect on something. Like literally, when he went into the abandoned shopping mall with Yuta, he moved his face guard piece and just said explode. Everything exploded. It was just one word, and everything's just gone. It's incredible. The only thing that doesn't have an effect is rice bowl ingredients. So he literally just walks around saying salmon, bonito flakes, mustard leaf. It's it's hard for us to understand what he's saying, but judging from most of the characters' facial expressions and them continuing the conversation, we kind of get a sense to know what he's. It's kind of like Groot in Guardians almost. Like Toge is pretty much almost like Groot. And then we've got Panda, who is literally just a giant walking stuffed panda that's hyper realistic and is able to go kind of like a full beast mode. It's like he goes almost in like the Hulk style transformation, almost like bigger muscles, large fangs and stuff like that, beating red eyes. He's pretty much the brute muscle of the team, but I mean, he's also there for support and stuff like that. He helps calm Yuta down after Maki tried talking Yuta badly and stuff like that. He's fun. Again, Geto, one of the coolest villains I've ever seen. The way that he just acts so sophisticated around regular people when they have curses, taking the curses, absorbing the curse, and gonna use it later to kill humans and stuff like that. Like he helps you only to kill you later. And he just starts off so charming and stuff like that. And I loved that about him. Because when I first looked at him, I was like, yeah, he looks pretty like a bad guy, but he acts so sophisticated. Like he knows how to do this. And again, him and Gojo's backstory, we got a little hint of it, being like a little conversation of him leaving Gojo, but since season 2 started, we're getting the backstory. And I'm very excited to see where they go with it. Again, the side characters like Mimiko and Nanako, they were cool. One of the girls was holding a rope with a doll strung in a noose and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. What other characters do I want to talk about? Everybody else just kind of got more screen time in the show. Even Nanami, the guy with the, I almost forgot about him. The guy with the sunglasses who uses a wrapped up cleaver and a tie to fight. He made an appearance in the final fight. He got to kill this gigantic, like almost 4-armed crab-looking curse. It was incredible to watch. Like every character that we pretty much loved in the anime gets like a little bit of a shining moment. Even the other students like Todo and Miwa and stuff like that. They even got an appearance. even Todo brought up his news anchor crush person, saying that she had a Christmas news outlet going on, and he what was it? Takata, yeah. He was like, it'll be hosting Takata, and like everybody's just standing there. He wants to get it done so he can see it. It's just so in character, and I loved it. Like everybody when I saw it a second time, it was a little bit more packed. People were cheering for Todo. It was amazing. And then I guess since we're talking about like the scene, we'll talk about the fighting next. Again, beautifully animated. Everything in this film was beautifully animated. The scenery, the backgrounds, the characters' expressions, the movements, everything. The curse fights were so cool, especially on the big screen. Like if they ever release this again in the theaters, I'm going to see it. I will pay for a ticket. Now, I'll rent a whole theater out and just use my Crunchyroll, hook it up to a freaking projector if I need to. I will watch this in theaters again if I get the chance. But look at again, the design's incredible. And I really do want to give these people credit because this is a really good movie. And even I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes so much, especially nowadays, but they gave the movie a 98 out of 100. And I was like, yeah, good. That shows. I mean, even though it's a story we rarely want to trust because, it's Rotten Tomatoes. But, again, just a beautifully, beautifully animated movie. I guess since it is a prequel, there's not really much to set up for the series, but there is a post-credit scene of Yuta being overseas with the dude that Gojo fought at the end, and Gojo shows up to see Yuta. So is Yuta coming back? We're only getting a few episodes of Gojo's backstory, and then we're getting the full other arc that's been going on right now, which means Yuta's going to come back, and we're going to get the Yuta and Itadori fight, which I am so excited for, because Yuta hates Sukuna. Flat out hates Sukuna. And Sukuna possesses Yuji's body because he swallowed the fingers. So, it's gonna be quite a fight. I'm very excited for it. Again, this film really is one of my favorites. The characters really make it shine. The action and visuals is beautiful to look at. If there's one criticism I would say about this movie is I feel like most of the scenes of them explaining stuff could have been a little bit downgraded. Like Panda explaining Inumaki's cursed ability. We kind of understood that he probably was cursed like that at birth, because most people are pretty much cursed at birth in this franchise. But again, prequel film. If you didn't watch the show, it's a pretty good introduction, so it's understandable. And I guess the ending was not a gripe, but I want to say it is a very beautiful send-off. It's a really emotional goodbye for Rika, because Yuta's been cursed with her for years and had to put up with so much loneliness because he wanted to keep people safe from her. But after unleashing the full power and saying he'll go with Rika, to die and be together forever, the curse is lifted, and it is an emotional goodbye. Yuta is breaking down sobbing because he ended up being the one cursing her. It's really sad. He ended up cursing her. She didn't curse him. But Rika wasn't mad. She thanked Yuta for being together for all that time. And she goes. She goes up. She ascends. It's beautiful. And again, if you haven't seen this movie, I really do recommend giving it a chance. Even if you haven't watched the anime, it is a really nice standalone piece. And if you love fast-paced action, demons, curses, badass action, enjoyable characters who fight, and enjoyable villains with cynical means to kill everybody, this is your film. This is the film for you. I give this movie a solid 10 out of 10. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.